reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine.
This is a Fox News alert right now. President Trump is on his way to the NATO summit in the Netherlands after doubling down on the push to keep America safe from nuclear weapons.
Meanwhile, today on Capitol Hill, lawmakers in both chambers will be briefed on Iran as they demand answers and even look to limit Trump's war powers authority.
The president just spoke to the press and he was pretty angry. Then he spoke to House Speaker Mike Johnson. And Mike, the speaker, joins us now. Mr. Speaker, Iran violated the ceasefire. President's not happy with Israel because they're about to respond. What could you tell us, and what was the president like when you were talking to him?
Well, I spoke to him just after he got onto the plane, and I was watching your broadcast in the background while I was talking to him on the flight. And look, he's frustrated. Everybody just saw that demonstrated. We all are, right? The ceasefire is fragile. It's very important. The president wants cooler heads to prevail, and we do as well. And he's going to have conversations, ongoing conversations with Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning. He's already spoken to him. I've reached out to my counterpart over there, the Speaker of the Knesset, Speaker Ohana, to echo that this is our concern and our plea to them not to retaliate and not to escalate. We need to calm the situation down. I'm optimistic that'll happen. I think the president is as well. We're on the verge of real peace in the Middle East, and we've got to forge that.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you've seen some of the reports. You have better intelligence as well. But Iran still doesn't want to abandon their nuclear program. They still want to do it, even after we crashed them.
Can I just tell you that right now, Mr. Speaker, Reuters is reporting Iran's nuclear chief says we're going to immediately start reconstituting our nuclear program. I mean,
How do you negotiate with that?
Are you kidding me?
It's madness. I mean, we're under no illusion that you can just kill all their nuclear ambition overnight. But I think reality has set in over there. We have decimated the upper echelon of their military command as well as their nuclear scientists. I mean, there's not much left for them to rebuild upon, but the idea that they would put out a statement like that at this fragile moment is very frustrating. It goes to show you why Iran has always been an irrational actor. They're not to be trusted, but we've got to use force. I mean, this is what peace through strength really means. You've got to forge the peace through the exercise of strength. That's what decisive leadership, strong leadership that President Trump has provided here allows the opportunity for. So we're going to be consistent. Our message and our actions are going to be consistent. We are going to bring this to a close one way or the other.
Well, the president said this morning that Iran will never rebuild their nuclear facilities. They are all under rocks and they are gone. So if they are claiming that they're going to rebuild, how does the United States respond to that?
Well, look, I think you've got to react and cooler heads need to prevail. Okay, so obviously this is rhetoric. Iran is really good at that. There's a lot of bluster. That's what you would expect. They have been decimated and they've been embarrassed on the world stage. So some of this is to be expected. I think it's more talk than action over there, but we're going to have to verify that. So this is a very serious thing. I mean, we've been brought to the brink. It should be only a 12-day war. It should be over now, and we're going to be consistent in our message and our action to ensure that happens. We have to do that.
So, Mr. Speaker, a lot of your Democratic colleagues in leadership are saying they didn't get a call from the president that this was happening. Caroline Levitt said that's not true. They reached out to him. Apparently, Chuck Schumer answered the phone, but Hakeem Jeffries didn't. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I've spoken to Hakeem about this. He's my counterpart, of course, in the House, the Democratic leader. He wasn't available when they called, and that's just the way these things go. It is ridiculous for anyone to assert that the commander-in-chief, using his Article II power under the Constitution, should have to consult all the members of Congress or even all the leadership in Congress every time he has to make a decisive, quick action. I mean, that would not be feasible. So the idea that they're saying that what he's done is somehow inappropriate or unconstitutional is nonsense. None of them ever complained when Barack Obama and Joe Biden used the same authority to drop bombs all over the Middle East, all over the world. You know, it's entirely inconsistent with their previous actions, and I think we call them on that hypocrisy.
I think it's a joke because go back to Bush 41, Panama. Go back to Grenada with Reagan. Reagan didn't ask for permission. So from Clinton, 4-day bombing campaign in Iraq, didn't ask for permission. But let's move on and talk about something that I think benefits you not to be in the headlines. Big, beautiful bill. The Senate's wrestling with it big time. And Senator Thune, somewhat frustrated, he's very calm like you under pressure, said, I'm keeping everybody through the 4th of July because we got to get this done. So while the Senate works, does the House stay too and prepared to pounce immediately and start working on it? Because the bill's already been changed. You guys got to revisit it too.
Yeah, I'm gathering all the House Republicans together within the hour, and we're going to talk about the schedule. If the Senate does its job, not if, but when, I believe they will. I believe Leader Thune has his steady hand at the wheel. They're going to deliver that product through the Senate, and we'll have to take it and act upon it. The July 4th deadline is an important one. The president is insistent about it. I have been from the very beginning, and I think we can get this job done. I remain very optimistic that we will.
Mr. Speaker, what are the differences in the House and the Senate when it comes to Medicaid and the SALT deductions and other areas? And what do you say to the Democrats that are pushing this narrative that's not true, that Republicans are cutting Medicare and Medicaid?
Yeah, it's of course nonsense. We had their ads taken down when they began to claim that early on in the process. We are not cutting Medicaid. We are strengthening the program for the people that desperately need it and deserve it. The populations that Medicaid is intended to help, and that's the elderly and the disabled and young pregnant women, for example. So what we're doing is reinstituting work requirements, which is about an 85% issue in public opinion polling, because if a young able-bodied man is able to work, he should. So we put into our product in the House version a 20-hour-a-week requirement, okay? Either work, be looking for a job or in a job training program, or volunteer in your community. Hey, it's good for you and everybody around you. That is common sense. So this bill comports with that. The tax provisions are written for lower and middle class earners, hardworking families. This is going to be great for the economy and great for every American.
What about the
We're going to get it done.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Speaker. What about the SALT deduction? Because the Senate has made it very clear they're going to change it. And
from 40 to 10.
Right. And Lawler has already said, okay, he's out then. He's not going to vote for it. And many people in the New York and California delegation are saying the same thing. So that would kill the bill. What's the latest?
Yeah, look, I've been working on that around the clock. I've spoken to individual senators. Leader Thune and I have talked about it ad nauseum, and the leaders over there. And of course, I'm trying to manage my House members on that. I told them not to modify our SALT negotiation that we reached, that agreement, much, if any at all, because that's a delicate balance that we have there. It's a big part of the bill, and it's what's necessary to cobble together the 217 votes that I must have to get the final product done into the president's desk. So they're playing with fire over there. I've tried to explain to them this is not a game. And, we reached that negotiation, that very delicate equilibrium, after about a year of negotiation. So for the senators to go in and meddle with it, look, they don't like it. I don't either. But this is a reality. We got to get our Republicans in the swing districts in California, New York, New Jersey, and elsewhere reelected. And this is key to that.
All right, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Right. Usually this is the type of talk when you have to get Democrats or Republican support. This is within their own party.
That's right.
So that's how close the margins are.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.